My name is A.S Elijah, and I'm a social impact photographer and filmmaker. Mostly, my work is centered around social impact projects. So growing up, I grew up in a community called Otodogbame, and while I was growing up, I knew I was always going to be a photographer because I really love camera, as a young child then. And even immediately I left school, while I was waiting for my admission, I was already going to a studio to learn photography there. So, and yeah, that was how it started until there was this sudden incident in my community, whereby the government was interested in our land and they wanted to displace us to, take over the place, and turn it into a luxury estate. So in the process, there was this German photographer, Jesco Denzel, that came to our community, and he was trying to document, the whole issues and everything that was basically unfolding there. So I think I was working with him, and then that really kind of inspired me more. And then I came to realize that there's another angle entirely to photography. So in that process, I was able to discover that photography could be used as a strong tool to kind of shape discussions, to raise awareness about things, So, and for me, that is another depth to the whole photography thing for me. So yeah, that was how I pick up interest more. I work with him during the documentation, and I think the photography then went on to win like a WordPress award then. So thereafter I joined like a movement, which is like an urban poor movement, whereby we try to use photography to tell stories of community members, use photography to humanize them basically. So, and for me, that has been a very strong thing to live for. It's about trying to bridge gap, using your photography as an art to really bridge gap and make change. So, yeah, you could link that to storytelling for making change.
My name is Milan, and I'm a documentary photographer. Well, I started my photography journey I started my photography journey in the year 2017 when my mom came home and she told me about a photography training. Well, I actually opened that opportunity because it involves camera, because I love camera a lot. So she came home and she told me about this, and I just, made use of the opportunity, and from there I've been taking pictures and I've been going for so many photo walks, taking pictures all around. So I chose to do documentary photography because I started with an organization, like a movement, and it's called the Nigerian Slum and Informal Settlement Federation. So really it was more of like a documentary photography. So, and it's like documenting the lives of people living in informal settlements. So that was how I started my documentary photography. And really, I love documentary photography personally because it makes me it enables me to be able to express myself through the pictures I take. And it's not as if someone is telling me, okay, shoot this angle. Like, I really don't like it. Like, I want to be myself whenever I take pictures. So that's why I hop on to documentary photography and not any other photography. So my photography involves people. I document people and community at large, like informal settlements. So the reason why I chose to document people living in informal settlement, because I'm also from an informal settlement in Lagos. So I tend to start this because of the kind of story people tell about people living in informal settlement. Like, if you go to television stations, I don't know what to call them. Let's say like news house in Nigeria. When they bring out their stories, it's a very different kind of story from the reality. they don't see the real thing that is really happening in this community. So I tend to do this kind of photography because, you know, I'll be able to at least make people understand that, okay, this is how these people are. And, you know, they are not, because people's mentality is that people living in informal settlement are touts, hooligans, like people that very dirty people, and like they don't have any sense of like being, that kind of thing. So, and you know, when at times when I hear people talking about this, it really gets to me because they are people, like they are human being like you. So you can't just talk about people like that. So it gets to me a lot. So that's why I'm really passionate about telling these stories, the positive side of it. Of course, everything in this world has positive side and it has negative side. So if you are really focusing on the negative side, then it will cover the positive side. So I'm more of telling the positive side of these communities, so that people would like know that, okay, we are not only seeing the negative side, we're also seeing the positive side, because the positive side is also important. So you know, these people are real people. They're not just there for being there.
My name is Okechukwu Samuel, and I'm into photography. My journey into photography, I think it started way back when, you know, I was always interested in media as a young boy. But then I didn't really take it as a profession because I was looking into arts more like making arts, but not, you know, photography. But then I think it picked up on around 2017, and you know, this was a training which brought me into basics of photography, and from then on it's been a journey. It's been quite interesting for me, and there's this particular field which I've had my interest in, and I'm trying to fuse in art and, you know, documentary style of photography. And so, well, it's been a long ride, and it's still going on for the long process of my photography.
So I think relationship with the communities really matters, because oftentimes when you go into these communities and they are not able to perceive you as one of them, so you know, they could feel like you are coming to take advantage of them or something. So, and then that could lead to them, like, you know, stopping you from not doing anything, you know. So they must feel that, you know, you are one of them, you know. So however you want to do it, and then you could do this in many ways, you know. It could be through like the way you approach them, your relationships and everything, you know. So, and the way you seamlessly blend into the environment, you know. So, and the way you talk to the people around, and then they, you know, they see you as someone who is, you know, equally accommodating and just like them. So, yeah. And another thing that has really helped me in my own journey is that, you know, I speak most of the local languages of these communities, you know, so, and that is very, very important. It could be as simple as the greetings and exchanges of greetings, basically. And I'm also a co-coordinator in the Nigerian Slum/Informal Settlements Federation, which have presence in about 100, which has presence in over 100 communities in Lagos only. So, and you know, in this movement, I co-coordinate a media team that brings together youth from different communities across Lagos, you know. And one of our aim is to use storytelling to change people's, you know, perspectives around these communities, basically. So, you know, this link, this relationship, it's very important, or it's really helped to enhance our own work. Like when we go into the communities, people already know us, we have our movement slogans, and then when you start saying it, like Agbajowo, Lafin Sonya, you know, like, you know, already you are identifiable, people already know who you are. So yeah, I feel that is relationship is at the core of what we are doing, and in terms of working with this community is that you also need to involve them. Yeah, it has to be very collaborative. Like we just did a film, which is called The Legend of the Vagabond Queen of Lagos. So and this film we'll be working on it, which is the Nigerian Federation Youth Media Team and other professional external filmmakers as well. We've been working on it for the past 4 years, and then if you see the production process and how everything unfolds, you'll see that community members were really at the heart of the production as well. It was like an equal collaboration. The people could see themselves being productive in telling their own stories, as well. So all of these things, help reduce the stake when you are going there to work, as long as you are involving them and they are feeling involved. So it's really going a long way. So, and regarding the pictures we took in 2017 when our community was demolished, when the whole forced eviction thing started. So the pictures were very timely. They were timely pictures, and a lot of times when I look back at them now, I feel they are very valuable, historic, how do I put it? If not tools, items, So when you look at them, it is like freezing time, freezing story, keeping the story alive, So they might have feel whoever the government, when they came to take the land and whatever, they might have feel like they've done it and they've moved ahead, but those things are documented and they are quite very representative of the community, the story, because the pictures were really centered around the culture of the community, how women kind of survive in this kind of vision, with all the struggle that comes with it, with all the challenges, the impact of the forceful eviction on people, like the immediate impact, because before the final eviction, like we're already documenting the whole story, and then we're able to capture some of the culture, some of the ways the community people come together to discuss and make plan on the threat that was coming, which is the eviction. And then when the eviction started happening, when the bulldozers were in the community, so we're actually capturing the immediate impact. You could see displacement, and pictures, they tell thousands stories, just looking at them, mainly looking at them. We captured the immediate effect, we captured them like communities member going to other communities, because one thing about this forceful eviction is when you demolish one community, you've actually not solved any problem. It's either a new community, a new slum community will sprang up, or the population in another community will increase basically. So it was really a privilege to have been able to participate in that project and capture those moments. And the picture went ahead, won an award, and I felt a bit, I was happy, I was proud, although it is not a good thing to be proud about because of the incident that happened. But yeah, so I felt that the most important thing is that the picture we are able to engage, beyond our community. The pictures were able to engage even beyond the country and around the world, which is the most important thing, because at the end of the day, it's about passing a message across, So yeah.
Okay. Okay, I want to ask, has this whole, the incident that happened at Otodobame, right? Was it pivotal to you deciding to be an activist and or continuing to be a documentary photographer? This is my question to you personally. Whatever your answer is will inform my next question.
Yeah. So yes, I think the whole incident actually, the whole incident that happened in Otodobame there actually propelled me to taking this as a course, keeping up, documenting other communities, because me personally, I feel that a lot of these communities are under represented, So I feel like a lot of these communities are under celebrated. So I feel like mostly people try to dehumanize these communities, and all these are just based on people's intuition, based on their own perspectives. So the idea now is to help bridge that gap, because the idea is to change the way people see, these communities, what they think of these communities, which often are not true. When you go into this community and you get to now talk to them, you get to now, it changes your whole perception, because these people are very humorous, they have strength, very hardworking, and they are very creative. They are very creative. These are people who really know how to improvise and who are content with their own life, and they love staying together, and yeah. So that is why I am doing this, and I hope to document a lot of stories, to just shape the way people perceive these communities and the people in this community.
It's a mixture of feelings, because there are always different people you meet. So I could use an example. I took a picture of a woman, or should I say a grandmother, somewhere in Accra, and I think that was one of the best feelings for me, because when I was leaving, she was very sad that I was leaving, and it's kind of creating bond between people, and I like to create that kind of relationship with every portrait or every people documentary I do. Create a relationship that it's not just for the story, but trying to get to understand the person. So that particular piece was very dear to me, because I was also sad for leaving the woman, and it's this bond that you create while telling stories. So it's a mixture. Sometimes you hear some stories and you just feel like crying. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's like you are blown out of smithereens or something. But it's a mixture of feelings.
The word slum is just a 4-letter word. Like, it is just a word. So you can't use it to judge people, because these people are there not because they really want it. They are there because that's where they find themselves. I'm living where I am now, not because I like it, but because this is where I was born. Do you understand? So I didn't choose I didn't choose my parents, for example. I didn't choose, this is where I want to live. Do you understand? So I just want people's opinion to change about people living in informal settlements. Like, see them as human. Don't see them as just anybody. Like, they are just living there. What are they doing? They are fuse. Like, those kind of rubbish stuff. So see them as part of you. Do you understand? You're a whole human being. So we should just make sure we treat them with regard, because no matter what, no matter their status, circumstance, they are still human. So just treat them the way you want other people to treat you. When I got to know about Otodogbame eviction, I was so angry, because these people are human beings. You can't expect me to come to your house one day and just say, okay, back out of this house, I want to make use of the land. Like, who does that? It doesn't make sense to me, and I don't know if it makes sense to you. Like, just coming one day and you destroying people's property, like what they've really worked for. There's children in this environment, parents, like even like people that just gave birth, because I heard there was one woman that just gave birth when they demolished Otodogbame. Like, it is inhuman, really. Let's just call a spade a spade. It is inhuman, because like, put yourself in their shoes. If you're the one, just imagine in your head, you're in your house sitting, relaxing, maybe even gisting with your family, and you just see a bulldozer pulling down your house. Like, that is out of, it's just really very stupid to me. I'm sorry to use that word, because because it has actually happened to me before, but it's not in that large scale. because it happened to my community in 2011. My house just got burnt, and my dad just built another house, and we were just like, okay, let's still run use this one for some time. And they just came one day, like we were not even notified. That morning, my dad just started pulling down everything, and we had to stay in a place like, whew.
I see my art as something that is very provocative, So, and I say that because like a lot of things that I document, are not really the things that are acceptable, with a first glance in the outside world there. You understand what I mean? Because in as much as we are all living in the same world, our orientations, our ideologies, our cultures, a lot of things are different. You understand what I mean? So, and some are actually very well welcomed at the first glance. You understand what I mean? So, and that is hugely imparted by the Western world, and what people perceive to be norm in the society, So, and when you come to what my art represents, which is majority of all these people in communities, you see that like they are always being pushed back, into a certain circle of what I feel as rejection, or what I feel like low, unacceptable, low, like, you understand what I mean? So, because there is this, if you look at Lagos in general, there is this class and division, that exists, So yeah, so this is the perspective I see my own art from, trying to give voice to the voiceless, and doing this not by projecting them as people who are low or people who are weak, but trying to highlight their resilience, trying to show that these people are powerful, these people are hardworking, and these people are also contributing to the economic prosperity of the state, basically. So yeah,
my art is my power. It is my power. It is my strength. So it is what I can turn to at any time, because there are so many things that will come, at least like so many difficulties, so many challenges, but you still have something to go back to. It's like a safe place for me, a place where I can run to whenever anything happens. Like there are times I'll be in a very difficult moment, and it is when I take this beautiful picture, like my day will just brighten up, like it brightens up my day whenever I take like a great picture, and people commenting about it, liking it.
Okay.
Well, what I hope my art achieve is that to change people's perception, to change their mode of thinking, to change the way they feel about people living in informal settlements.
For me, I think what I'm trying to do with it is trying to represent a kind of feeling, and bring back lost bring back lost generations of research in terms of what we have and what we can't find again. Because looking at it, I would like to go into archival system, and so in the next maybe 50 years or so, then what will happen is, looking back in these photographies, and you try to find out what was happening in those times. And so I'm trying to, grab inspiration from our own history in terms of the Nigerian history. And most of what I've seen is they have archival system of, how they keep their media, and then we have to go borrow that media to tell our own stories. And so what I'm trying to do is actually, make a system where I'm trying to show people what has been happening in this present time, and in a way is it's quite big for me. It's very important, and I'm sure maybe in a few years I don't know what I'll be creating. So I think my art is, I don't know the word to use, but it is there's this word I use, preeminent kind of art. So yeah.